Okay, the session I'm recording right now. Is it possible for any one of you who wants to ask any questions? Dah tengok video tu? Okay ke tak?
Dah tengok.
Okay, good.
Dah tengok dah, sir.
So, empat-empat ke satu je?
Semua dua, sir.
Okay. So,
Semua.
okay. Macam mana? Do you have, what is your opinion about Karl Marx? Dia berapa?
Dia sangat-sangat tak suka capitalism. So dia came with a communist idea.
Okay.
Because he believe yang kapitalis ni pertama dia akan buatkan kita jadi useless. Sebab kita, yang bekerja orang bawahan-bawahan tapi yang gain every benefits orang atas.
Betul.
Working class lah yang buat kerja untuk kapitalis.
But before this, you all ada perasan tak the so-called injustice that is going on? Assuming that,
tak apa sir. Apa tu? Apa?
Assuming that you have not exposed to Karl Marx before this, right? Who would be the first time yang exposed to Karl Marx punya ideology? Semua orang dah familiar?
Tak tahu.
Tak tahu, okay. So,
macam wujud je, sir.
Macam wujud. Macam wujud, what do you mean by macam wujud? Can you elaborate?
Macam wujud, I mean in the current situation, I feel that there are some companies yang macam kapitalis sikit lah. Yang ambil keuntungan yang banyak, tapi they pay like lower wages for their employees. So this is also a form of capitalism in terms of employer-employees. So macam saya rasa macam wujud lah isu ni.
Yeah. It's prevailing, which is the reality of our society today, which we are applying. Majority of the world system that we see, majority of us applying apa panggil ni, capitalism. So, yeah. So macam mana? Do you agree or disagree?
I personally, I agree, sir. I agree with what Karl Marx is ideology, his theory.
So before this kita nampak macam all the negative things about Marxism, kan? But kalau kita, we have to study in order for us to get the bird's eye view of every jurist or philosophers. Yeah. So in order for us to have a broad eye view before we are going to take any action, you know. So we have to understand the whole structure of the whole situation. So by knowing that, inshallah, we will be making a better, application of our law. Now, questions that you want to ask? The first one is the feedback, kan? So you know by now, who is him, what is is, you know, is promoting to what, you know. And for the videos, do you have any questions that you want to ask?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
So, Marxism kan, dia fokus more on academic kan?
Yes.
Tapi kenapa macam China, Russia, macam countries yang apply communism, mesti sekali dengan dictatorship? Ke dictatorship memang under Marxism punya principle?
Very good question, very good question. Now, there is no country in this world yang dah sampai komunisme yang Marx kata. Meaning, all other countries yang so-called quote unquote capitalist di communism ni, they are just socialist. Diorang tak sampai pun. The process that Marx says that from the initial primitive communism, the society have changed to feudalism, and from the feudalism system, the society changed to capitalist. Now, capitalist is not a good system. It will eventually fail, and the society will revolve, and then they will want the system to be changed. And the system that is better for them to change to would be communism. But no country in this world dah sampai communism. Russia tried, but they failed, and now they are no longer a communist country. China, they knew for the fact that they don't want to repeat the thing that is happening dekat Russia, to avoid from what they call it collapsing like Russia. They just open up their system, which is now they have dual system. One is so-called socialist, and the other one is capitalist. Any response to what I said just now?
So, macam mana tak apa?
Okay, initial question tadi macam mana? Lupa dah pula.
Kenapa country macam China, Rusia tu kan, dia orang apply Marxism tapi mesti being communist countries mesti dia orang apply dictatorship juga kan. So soalan saya, adakah dictatorship tu under Marxism punya prinsipal juga?
Jawapan pendek, tidak. Okay. Kenapa tidak? Because dia orang ni hijack Marx punya idea, and they say to their society that they are applying Marxism, which is communism, whereas in actual fact bukan. They are central government, one central government, because they are macam dictatorship lah. Nampak macam bukan dictatorship. Kalau you tengok kat China, they have a communist party, communist party. Only one party that is ruling the country. There is no parties like several parties like what we are having in Malaysia. So every party.
So sir,
sorry.
Basically, from what you say, dictatorship is more is in regards to the type of government, the system, the governmental system. However, what Marxism is saying is more to the nature of the society, of how the society should live their life. Macam tu ke? It's two different concept.
Two different concept.
Okay.
But Marx is saying that by the end of the process of revolution, when we want to change the system that we are having right now, capitalist to that communism, if we were to reach there, all laws are no longer needed, because kita ada sistem yang ada society akan self-check. We don't need a central government. We don't need to that certain extent lah. Dia kata religion is an opium of the society. Kalau you baca Marxism, you akan nampak statement kadang-kadang dia marah, because to him, he is trying to ask us to look at the reality of things. Ingat, kita dalam juris tu, we are looking at realism. So kita start dengan Roscoe Palm, realism, American realism, Scandinavian realism. Now kita masuk dekat Marx. Marx pun realist. So he wants us to look at the reality of things rather than being bombarded by dogma, ideology, all those kind of things is clouding our mind, and we cannot see the real picture. The real picture is about economy. because some of us wants to make profit, as much as possible from the capitalism system in order for them to, be better than the other. But in the end, we actually enslaving others in order for us to be the masters. Questions? Respond? Guys, are you here?
Sir, kalau ikut Marx kan dia kata capital, orang yang kaut untung daripada orang lain kena distribute wealth kan. Dia memang tak suka capitalism, tapi dia nak abolish terus ke macam limitkan capitalism?
Dia nak equal distribution of wealth. So meaning equal distribution of wealth, you can do business obviously. They start off with our need, right? We cannot survive as compared to animals. Animals can survive anywhere. But when it comes to humans, we cannot survive. So the reality that we cannot survive, we need to work. We need to, arrange our labor to a way that we are able to produce. Now, production is a norm. It should be a normal way of us to survive. However, this system of production is being hijacked, as I mentioned, being hijacked by other people. Kalau kita tengok contoh yang senang, primitive communism, you tengok dekat orang asli. Okay, orang asli ni dia primitive communism because they work together as a community. They work in community. So there are certain people that is concentrating on the building of the houses, in terms of the security, in terms of there are people who are engaged in cooking, there are people who are engaged in hunting. So primitive like rumah rumah panjang in Sabah Sarawak, that is primitive communism, whereby they live in a community, everyone share everything. So the house belongs to everyone. So as far as Marx is saying, by the end of the communism, we are not we cannot possessively say that this is mine, that is yours. Kita tak ada have that ill feeling. So bila kita ada greed, therefore you tend to enslave others in one way or another. Faham tak?
Faham.
Okay, soalan lagi. Good. Questions? Kalau you think, yeah.
Saya nak tanya. Macam
siapa ni?
First video, Afiq.
Yang
dalam first video, at the end of the video dia cakap yang Carl Smack ni macam brilliant doctor, that he could recognize or detect the disease of the nature. But tapi dia tak tahu macam mana nak cure disease.
Yes. Dia cuma bagi reality, meaning dia present the problem, but he did not come up with a solution. Dia nampak, dia buat investigation, dia tengok the reality of the situation, and from the situation he is asking us to change. Because if we don't change, the system will corrupt our society. Eventually will collapse as kita akan dapat chaos. We will achieve chaos as a result of finding peace. Kalau kita tengok sekarang dekat Malaysia, every now and then kita ada economic recession. So economic recession comes from the problem of capitalism. Because capitalism, in a way that they produce something that is it will eventually, I don't know. Boleh, As? Ingat guys, we are here to discuss. We have another 45 minutes just to recap ataupun to ponder onto the videos that you have seen. So jadi what questions that you have, you know, by watching the videos?
Sir.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I have a question to ask.
Yeah.
In regards to Karl Marx punya ideology, which he does not support capitalism. I feel that capitalism is like macam mana nak cakap, when you talk about communists and talk about equal the sharing of equality, macam you share the property, you share your wealth. But then there's also an issue where you are not putting as much as effort as others.
True.
So how can you share when you put in more effort than others? So there's and then there's also in regards to unemployment and inequality and stuff. I think that macam saya cakap tadi, macam my friend cakap tadi, yang Russia, China, and there is no successful macam mana, tak ada lagi macam mana nak cakap, communism yang successful.
Yes.
That there is communism, tapi there is like some other things yang prevent it to be like a whole concept of communism. So I feel that we can fight capitalism, but we can never demolish it. Macam mana pun dia tetap akan wujud. However, we can lower down the friction in terms of macam tolong the employees, bagi mereka macam macam mana nak cakap kan, Marx kan he talks about leisure for the employment, for the employees to have leisure and more advantages as employees. I rasa we can have that, but in terms of demolishing capitalism, we can never reach that level.
Okay, good response. So jadi basically you are saying that rich, it is the question of people who are rich, they are unable to share with the poor, right? Obviously.
Yes.
So in communism,
boleh share sir, tapi boleh share tapi there will be no I think generally no one will want to share everything equally.
Yeah. So what he's trying to say is that as far as people who are rich and poor, distribution punya process, eventually the system will self-check. You know, what do you mean by self-check? Because as far as the technology that we are producing things more than what we need. Kalau you tengok the abundance of wealth yang kita ada, kita tengok muka, you pergi dapur dan you tengok barang-barang dapur yang you ada. There are things yang dalam rumah yang you beli tapi tak pernah pakai pun. Actually, we are able to get that so-called production in order for us to distribute to all people. But this distribution is not happening because the rich wants to keep all the riches for themselves and they don't like to share, because the argument is, I work hard for this, why should I share? Now in communism, whereby everyone realize that everyone share the whole resources, you know, actually those people who are rich, they are capitalizing on other people's weaknesses or inability for them to be rich. So itu yang kita nampak nowadays. People are, you know, fighting, you know, trying their best to be richer than the other, because they work hard. You know, by working hard, they are actually not getting the money coming from their own they are utilizing somebody else in order for them to be rich. Say for example, I ambil Bill Gates. Yeah, you tahu Bill Gates is one of the the richest person kan. Ya, kalau tengok sini Bill Gates dia 11.5 billion this year. Maksudnya kalau we go per hour, he is getting 1.38 million per hour, meaning 23,000 dollar per minute. You know, kalau dia jumpa RM10, RM100 atas jalan, dia tak akan ambil because 1 minute dia ada 23,000. The problem here is it's not about him making the money. It is about his employees. You know, he cannot be rich as rich as this if it's actually you know, him doing the work alone. So he is capitalizing on other people punya need to find work in order for him to be rich. Not to say that it is wrong. Don't see it as in a way that Marx hate capitalism. It's just that he is trying to get us to look at the reality of things. When it comes to reality of things, this is the nature. If you apply capitalism, if you allow capitalism to continue, the gap is going to be larger and larger, as the third video has shown you, right? And this is the situation whereby people utilizes the situation of capitalism. You look at those people yang ke atas, ya. Capitalists, they are so-called the rulers, yeah, the person that is, I mean, the persons who rule our country, actually, or any other countries. Kalau kita tengok ni, it might not be the king, it is above that, yeah. So capitalists are those macam Bill Gates lah, yeah. Kalau kita tengok Bill Gates, he can be seen as a capitalist, you know. And then those people who are below him are the one that he can influence in order for him to utilize these people to bring him support, you know, people in politics, you know, people in the government. He would, kalau kita tengok dekat America, lobbyists, yeah, we have lobbyists, they try to lobby the government by injecting their own money into the government so that the government favor them. Whatever improvement or policy or what they call it, infrastructure, the government will focus on them first. Okay. And then we have the administrators, yeah, kat bawah ni dia kata we fool you. The administrators meaning the lawyers, the judges, the pope, the priests, you know, the religion and the law is being utilized in order for them to be the capitalists to be in power. Okay, and that is the reality of things. People realize that the law, religion is something that is, you know, religion is not real, yeah, in terms of equality, in terms of concept that is being applied. Yeah? Sometimes you see religious people, they just want to say that we are right, you are wrong, do this, you know, that kind of influence towards the society is the one that is actually dia orang pun tak sendiri tak perasan that they are being controlled by capitalism, you know, in one way or another. Then we have these police, armies that is being utilized and to control, to defend the system. Then we have those people, the officers, the rich people, you know, and they are actually gaining from the lowest, which are the proletariat. Yeah, proletariat meaning that they are workers. Yeah. So bourgeoisies, they are the atas, they are the capitalists, and the proletariat would be those people that is working. So it is a way of to see it as working class and ruling class kalau kita tengok. So ruling class kat atas, the working class kat bawah. Question? So kalau kita tengok communist countries, so-called communist countries, ni socialist. So kita tengok banyak juga to the extent last time Malaysia was quite worried that Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, because they call it the domino effect, from Russia, China, and then moving on to Vietnam, then we have Cambodia, and then it's moving towards Thailand. Then one country after another will fall, because it is something that is that is close to the workers punya it's something that workers are favor they favor this concept as compared to capitalism. Okay, respond. Any response? So you see this, Egypt, we have Libya, we have we have India, we have Sri Lanka, we have Chile, Nicaragua, we have apa yang kecil ni, Fidel Castro, Cuba, So these are the countries that is more or less have this socialist agenda in order for them to bring equality to the working class rather than being manipulated by the capitalist. So kalau kita tengok dalam colored ni, not colored ni, Malaysia is a capitalist country juga. Okay, respond. Any questions that you want to ask?
Sekejap. Sosialis tu macam mana sah?
Sosialis ni dia komunisme yang tak jadi. Ni kalau tengok they nobody call themselves actually pure. Even Russia, China pun tak kata dia orang ni komunis. They are socialist. USSR pun nama dia pun socialist. Dia tak panggil dia orang komunis. So, but they are running from they are running on communist platform. Because dalam komunisme tak ada central government. We don't need law. Law will wither away. Itu one of the statement daripada ulama. We don't need law. We don't need government actually.
Maksudnya
ya. Macam mana? Maksudnya komunisme ni boleh dapat waktu kita pergi waktu kita dalam syurga lah. Senang. Dalam syurga kita akan nampak komunisme. Nobody cares about anyone else. Tak ada busuk hati. Everyone shares everything. You can get everything. Meaning you tak payah kerja. Kalau dekat dunia punya reality is that you kerja pun sebenarnya you tak payah kerja gila-gila. Sebab yang kita kerja gila-gila ni untuk kita nak kejar duit yang tak seberapa yang diberi oleh kapitalis. Kos gaji kita tak cukup as compared to those gaji orang kaya. Tapi at the same time, they put pressure to us to buy things. They advertise. Advertisement is a sense of a capitalist punya method of way to control us. Ada one of the video kan, and the first video is method of ideology. You kena you kena rajin, you kena buat benda, you kena change the society, you have to be rich. Rich is a security position. So it's just a fictitious punya situation created. So, you know, okay. Anyone wants to comment on what I just said? No? Don't worry, ask questions. Tak ada? Wow.
Sir.
Ya.
So maknanya daripada Marx ni kan, as kita tak provide solution, so kita sendiri kan yang kena provide solution untuk every problem yang ada.
Yeah, as what one of our colleagues kata tadi kan, when it comes to orang kaya, manalah orang kaya nak share all the what they call their wealth kan. So one solution yang Marx boleh, and some of, kalau kita tengok Prof Wolf tadi kan, Prof Wolf dia kata communism to make it workable is democracy at work. What do you mean by democracy at work? Every workers are actually owners of the business. If workers are also owners of the business, dia akan by the end of it, dia jadi macam corporation, koperasi. Koperasi, all members are owners of that company. So the business is belonging to everyone. So everyone do not have to work like crazy in order for us to get the money. But because as far as the income that is getting from the business can be shared with everyone. So jadi that is where distribution of wealth can occur. Rather than we have minority is controlling the majority, and the minority is getting all the richness. And that is what he's trying to say in terms of that solution. But as far as law is concerned, now our main concern is about law, right? So where do you see the law role in Marxism? Anyone?
Apa dia soalan saya tadi?
Soalan dia, now you have understand, you understood what is Marxism. Basically, you are able to understand him. Now, the next question is that why we are learning him? What is his relationship with law? So kita nak dapat link between Karl Marx ideology to what we are learning, jurisprudence. We know for the fact that he is asking us to be real, so therefore in line with all the other group of jurists yang kita dah belajar. But where is the role of the law then? Rasa-rasa you on macam mana? What is the role of the law? Now he mentioned about by the end of the system, by the end when we reach through communism, we don't need law. Okay, that is when we achieve that. But now, what is the role of the law in this current situation of capitalism that we have throughout the world?
Maybe we can law can be used to solve the problems regarding economics yang specifically in equal distribution of wealth.
Okay, but what is the law now? What is the role of the law now? That just now what you said is we can utilize the law to change the society in terms of distribution of wealth. But what is the position of the law right now? I bagi satu clue. To him, he says that no equality before the law. It is not real. You say, we are equal before the law. Everyone is equal before the law. Actually, the concept is actually wrong altogether. It is not real. Because if you look at the reality, then you start to realize that, mana the reality, mana the equality before the law. Everything that is happening surrounding us is not equal. So how can you say equality before the law? Because the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. There is no justice there. So the law is wrong. The law that we have, the whole system of law is being manipulated by capitalists. Kalau you investigate all the laws that we have right now, you will see capitalists behind it. Because they are the one that is promoting laws that can benefit them. Or laws that is eventually going to support them. Comment? Yes, jangan malu, jangan segan.
So maksudnya Marxism dia tak percaya law because for him law tu memang is injustice sebab memang akan benefit one class of person je lah. Lagi-lagi capitalist. Macam tu ke?
Because kalau kita tengok law, we look at law alone, we will see justice as what the law wants us to see. But if you want to know real justice, we have to look at the economy. From the perspective of economy, from the videos that you have seen, then you start to realize that, oh, there is injustice that is going on in our society. Therefore, all this injustice cannot happen willingly. There must be something that is a medium that is promoting that imbalances to happen. As I mentioned in class, everything that we do is must be related to the law. So capitalism is utilizing the law in order for them to make their richness that they are able to get from people like the workers. Do you realize that income tax, for example, people are always able to run from paying income tax? You know, there are means that they engage lawyers, accountants, in order for them to run away from giving taxes to the government. The poor people have to pay taxes because there is no way for us to run. There is no leeway ataupun shortcuts that we are able to utilize in order for us to run from paying tax. But companies, they are able to go and they manipulate the accounts to say that on paper they are not making profit. You know, in reality, yeah.
Sorry sir. Saya nak tanya yang pasal income tax tu kan. Betul ke that when big companies when they do like volunteering work, macam they give back to the society, macam volunteer lah, kutip derma lah and all this stuff, will that be taken into account into their auditing? Lepas tu they will use that as a, macam saya cakap lah, as a key to escape from paying income tax. Betul ke sir?
Itu memang dia orang pakai pun. Itu yang clear on paper. But off paper, they can manipulate the figures. to make the company is suffering from losses. Therefore, they are not supposed to pay any taxes to the government. So if government tak ada duit, they cannot distribute wealth, evenly to the society. Roads cannot be built, in terms of social infrastructure, it's quite difficult for the government to run the country without money. But this so-called institution in terms of company, dia tak kisah, because their aim is about making money. Comment?
Kejap, saya tengah faham.
About the fourth one, fourth video tu macam mana? Kita ada kita ada mode of production kan. Daripada mode of production, ini ekonomi Kalau mode of production, kita pecah pada process of production dengan relation of production. Meaning, process of production, kita berkenaan dengan who or what as compared to relation of production, di mana it is about where, when, how, why. Sorry, how pula. How. How, where, when, why. Relation of production ni diutilize oleh capitalist in order for them to produce goods, because they control the society in terms of raw materials. Kilang dia orang punya, bangunan dia orang punya, supplier dia orang punya, capital dia orang punya, they utilize. You kalau you nak kerja, you can bekerja, but this is the salary. So you kalau boleh the richer that they get, the lesser amount of salary that they want to share with you. Kalau lah kata kita ada corporation, in terms of koperasi, for example corporation, as far as corporation is concerned, kita akan ada what? Kita akan dapat gaji. At the same time, by the end of the year, kita akan dapat dividend, because the company is ours. Nanti you akan realize that bila you kerja dengan dengan firm nanti later on, you start to realize that you are not going to get any portion of the wealth ataupun from the profit of the what they call the firm, because the firm is not, they don't want to share. So you akan dapat gaji saja. So kalau corporation, if everyone shares the firm, but at least you are working hard for it. That is your motivation to get, by the end of the year, you akan dapat dividend. On top of that, those people, ada yang malas, ada yang rajin, they will get bonuses. That bonuses is a incentive for us to work harder and harder. Not for somebody else, but for ourselves. Jadi, di situ nampak the distribution can happen. Guys, any comment?
So, sir, apa relation Marx ideology dengan law yang saya tanya tadi?
Law, so jadi you tak boleh nampak law is being utilized for their benefit. Kalau you tengok structure ni, okay, kalau you tengok structure ni, what do you see? Everything that is happening, structure ni tak akan ada kalau law is not being manipulated. For every section that you see, they are bound by the law. Capitalists, they gunakan law untuk gain the upper hand in order for them to get their richness that they are looking for. Everyone is doing, when they do business, obviously they want richness. They want to get rich. Problem is how. So you will try to minimize your cost and maximize your profit. Tapi at other people punya expense lah. Kalau kita tengok labor law, okay, kalau kita tengok lah, senang kita ambil reality. Mahathir tak suka naik gaji banyak-banyak. Why? Because he is a capitalist. Capitalists see it as people are to work and you have to increase your productivity. And Mahathir mentioned about increasing our productivity. Kita ni malas, kita tak rajin, kita kena buat 2-3 kerja in order for us to improve our wealth. It's wrong. It's just that why we are to slaughter ourselves working 2-3 kerja just because we need to buy new things. Sometimes people 2-3 kali kerja, those people yang datang Grab, yang datang rumah I interview dia orang. Ni kerja full time you all? Tak, dia kata this is my second work. You kerja kat mana? Dia kerja kat office hours from 9 to 5. And why are you doing this? Tak cukup duit bang. You know, if you are talking about equal distribution of wealth with the position of the law that we have, obviously it's not happening. So the law that we have is more or less benefiting certain quarters rather than everyone else. That is what Marx is trying to say.
Oh, faham saya faham.
Yeah. So kalau you tengok you buat law nanti from whatever law that you are doing, please look from the perspective of Karl Marx. You akan nampak, oh, law ni sebenarnya ada dia punya mission, dia punya goal, and that goal is actually nampak on paper kata equal distribution of wealth, equality, fairness, justice. Actually, it is not. You know, nampak. It has to be shown as ada lah sikit, bukan yang tak ada. But right to the basic of the system itself, of the legal system, is benefiting somebody more than the rest. Amen. Soalan?
Ada orang tanya soalan dekat chat.
Oh, mana chat nak? Chat tu. I have a problem where, according to Marxism, wealth is surrendered to a master and later distributed with master's force. Okay, won't there be a problem of efficiency? Like to identify ensuring that everyone gets a piece of pie. So jadi here, what do you understand about it? The rest? What is your response to Ahmad punya question?
Sir, wait, I have a question about the just now that you explained the injustice in the law.
Mm-hmm.
So if in this situation, who is to be blamed? The law itself or the government?
The creator of the law lah.
The government lah kan.
It's obvious lah kan. Siapa yang buat law?
The parliament.
So kalau you jumpa Marx, dia kata law ni memang semua mengarut lah. Kalau lah law tu betul, we don't have any disparity right now. We are people who are being, minimum wage. Kalau you keluar kerja nanti you dapat gaji 2,300. Is it going to be enough? Obviously it's not. But you slaughter yourself to study in order for you to get that amount of money, which is your contribution to the firm is very high, but your return is going to be very mild. That is not fair. But they can always argue and say that, you buka you punya business ni lah. Yes, it can be in that nature. But you ask the same question dekat dia, can they run the whole thing with themselves alone to get that amount of money? You know, the bigger the number of workers you are, the higher chances of you getting more money, because that is maths. That is simple maths. Yeah. Tapi Ahmad macam mana soalan Ahmad? Macam mana dia kata problem of efficiency? Efficiency in a way that it will be efficient lah, in a way that people are able to get rest that they want. Sekarang the 1/3 of your life is going to be spent working, 1/3 sleeping, 1/3 untuk everything else. Now kalau kita tengok Finland, the Prime Minister, they have like 4 working days. You know, kalau European countries, you can take long period of leave in order for you to go to a long holiday. You know why? Because the labor punya movement over there is very strong. Can we go for 1 month holiday somewhere in the world? Here in Malaysia, impossible. Dia kata kalau you nak cuti sebulan, go and work elsewhere. So why? Because the law says so. There is no provision of the law to help people to get leisure as what they are supposed to get. We are working, we are pressuring ourselves to produce when the production of our outcome is being benefited by, you know, the capitalists. Dalam Islam, kalau you tengok, ada kapitalis dengan Marxist, komunis dalam, you know, payment of zakat, you know, and then we have, you know, zakat dia orang kaya banyak-banyak, you know, and then distribution of wealth, kita tengok zakat di pembahagian zakat pada orang miskin. So we do have that the two main concept of capitalist and communist dalam Islam itself. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you look at capitalism alone, you will see that the law has been hijacked in order for them to gain all advantages that is able for them to do so. Rural development as compared to urban, mana concentration of the government to do progress? Banyak on urban, right? So kenapa urban? Because people who are in urban generates more income than people in the rural areas. Why urban people needs to be concentrated? Because they are workers. Workers for whom? Workers for capitalists. When I used to work with Ericsson, they provide all the utilities that for me to start work. I just go there and work. Therefore, my expertise, I have to survive on them giving me that work. If they don't, one day they say, macam recession nowadays, COVID, everyone is saying that, we don't have money, you know, everyone meaning the capitalists, the companies. We don't have money, we want to shut down, you know, and we have to let go. So many people, so many workers are being let go, you know, lay off right now. So what happened to them? Who are to take care of their life? You can say that, nasib lah. What will they say? It might not happen to you yet. You know, this is the struggle that we are in. Everyone is so selfish about themselves. They don't give a damn about other people. And this is what Marx is trying to highlight. The reality of the situation that we have in our society today is unfairness, injustice of the economic distribution of wealth that we have to concentrate. Okay, so I think tak ramai yang nak berani tanya soalan, tak apa. We will discuss further in our tutorials, ya? Boleh?
Boleh,
Anyone?
sir.
Dah lagi 5 minit. I tak kisah panjang lagi, tak kisah. Tapi provided that somebody ask question lah. Siapa yang nak tanya soalan lagi? Yes, please. Yes.
This is not question lah, tapi ni apa yang saya rasa lah kan. Saya rasa macam capitalism ni, orang yang create tu sebenarnya society tu sendiri, working class tu sendiri, sebab macam yang Antonio Gramsci cakap lah kan, dia stay in their power strongly sebab society sendiri yang percaya, orang bawahan ni percaya yang the people deserve to be in power. Contoh macam sebab dia orang kaya, nampak macam berkarisma, so dia macam still ikut je, tak try to change lah.
Kalau kita tengok countries, when they topple down their leaders, kalau kita tengok Russia, kita tengok China, kita tengok France, when they kill off their kings, so why they kill their kings? Because they want justice. Because so far they have become slave to the kings, rather than they produce a lot of things for the kings, but they don't get anything. You are the slave to the masters. That is unfair. So they want something else. They start to realize that by us working in what do you call it, capitalist system, where I work with the companies, say for example during the Industrial Revolution, rather than working with the master of land, so they go to the town in order for them to work with a boss, but no, under the pretext that they are able to do whatever they want, but actually they are just moving from one cage to another. Orang kata masuk mulut buaya keluar pergi ke mulut singa, something along that line, right? So they are, they cannot be in the position where they are able to be free, able to increase their wealth. Forever trapped. We, they is not they lah, we are forever trapped in this situation. Sadly, it is true. Soalan? One last question before we end. You might have a class after this, kan? Ada? Tak ada? Okay. Yeah, ada. Okay, tak ada. Okay, right. So thank you so much for the attendance. Ada yang tak datang, so I have to make a report. Can you later on message me why you are not attending the classes? Yeah, ni I record for those people yang tak datang tu, when they listen and then they are to respond to it. So thank you, guys. Assalamualaikum. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.